So these last few years, I've been expanding my variety in acting and comedy, and I came across a few celebrities that really piqued my interest. Recently, there's been one celebrity who I've been enjoying a lot, with some of his skits on Saturday Night Live. There have been a few tragic deaths on Saturday Night Live, to name a few. John Belushi and Chris Farley stick out to a lot of people, but there's one cast member on that show whose life and death sticks out amongst all the others, and that was Phil Hartman. His material is considered some of the very best on Saturday Night Live, and although he's gone, his achievements are still well recognized. So what was the life of this great actor like? This is his story. Philip Edward Hartman was born in Brantford, Ontario, Canada on September 24th, 1948. He was the fourth out of 8 children, and he found attention hard to find, so he used entertainment at a young age to grab attention. He and his family moved to the United States when he was around 10 years old, and they settled in California, where he spent his teen years studying at some of the best schools there. Phil went on to study art at the St. Monica College, but he dropped out in 1969 to become a roadie for a rock band. He did return to schooling, though, in 1972, where he studied graphic arts at California State University. He eventually formed his own business and designed over 40 album covers for bands such as Crosby, Stills and Nash and Poco. In 1975, Phil joined the comedy group known as the Groundlings. There he met several great stars, including actor Paul Reubens, who's best known for his creation as the character Pee Wee Herman. The two, among with others, helped to make The Pee Wee Herman Show in 1981, which aired on HBO. Phil often starred on the show as Captain Carl, and in 1985, he and Reubens co-wrote the movie Pee Wee's Big Adventure. But sadly, their relationship ended on terms of artistic differences. In 1986, Phil made his big break as a comic actor when he joined the cast of Saturday Night Live. He became well known for his many impersonations of people such as Bill Clinton, Frank Sinatra, and Ronald Reagan. Also that year, he went on a blind date with a woman named Bryn Omdahl, and the two were smitten with each other at first sight. Bryn was born Vicky Jo Omdahl on April 11th, 1958, and she grew up in a small town in Minnesota. She had dreams of becoming a famous actress, and she moved out to California to start her career. But her attempts were not as successful. She found herself partying and getting herself seriously addicted to drugs and alcohol. Eventually, she went to rehab to try and put her life back together. She had gotten a job as a runway actress, and she eventually met Phil. The couple were married a year later in late 1987, and they had 2 kids together, a son, Sean, and a daughter, Birkin. Phil himself was no struggle to fill relationships. He had 2 previous marriages, one to Gretchen Lewis and one to Lisa Strain, whom he remained good friends with throughout the years. Phil's fame was growing at this time, and he started getting more and more roles as an actor. Famously, he did several characters on The Simpsons, most notably Lionel Hutz and Troy McClure. He also found himself in several big movie roles in films such as So I Married an Axe Murderer, Greedy, Jingle All the Way, and Small Soldiers, only to name a few. After 8 seasons on Saturday Night Live, Phil left the cast in 1994 to find better career pursuits. The following year, he was cast as news anchor Bill McNeil on the sitcom News Radio, to which he found much success there as well. Bryn, on the other hand, was not finding the success she craved for, and this ate away at her confidence. She eventually became jealous of Phil's success and started getting back to her old addictions. This caused problems in their relationship, and they found themselves arguing more constantly. Sometimes it would get so bad that Bryn would actually be physical, and Phil found himself sending their kids to live with friends and family for several days. These problems of theirs came to a tragic climax on May 28, 1998. The night before, Bryn had visited the Italian restaurant Buca di Beppo near their home in Encino. There she had a few drinks with her friend Christine Zander, who said she was in a good state of mind. Then she visited an old friend of hers named Ron Douglas, where they chatted for a few hours. She then returned to the house sometime around 1 a.m. What happened next is quite debatable, but it's believed that Phil and Bryn had another heated argument in which Phil threatened to leave her if she started using drugs again, after which he went to bed. Bryn, still awake and obviously very frustrated, took a few more drinks of beer, took a dose of the antidepressant Zoloft, and sniffed a dose of cocaine, all which she had been using a while beforehand. Shortly before 3 a.m., she went into a safe and pulled out a .38 caliber handgun from their gun collection. She went into the master bedroom and fatally shot her husband 3 times as he slept. Phil was shot between the eyes, in the throat, and in the arm and chest. Immediately afterwards, she drove back to her friend Ron Douglas's and immediately confessed to murdering Phil, but due to Bryn's state at the time, Douglas didn't initially believe her. As they were talking, he finally discovered a handgun in Bryn's purse, and he immediately agreed to follow her back to the house. Once he saw that Phil was already dead, he dialed 911 at around 6:20 a.m. When the police arrived, they escorted Douglas and Hartman's son Sean out of the house. They then went inside to grab their daughter Bergen. While they were escorting Bergen out of the house, they heard a single gunshot come from the master bedroom. Bryn at this time immediately confessed to another friend of hers to the murder over the phone, took out a second gun, sat up in bed next to Phil, and shot herself through the mouth. Bryn was 40 years old, Phil was 49. After the incident, police found that Bryn did have Zoloft and cocaine in her system, and her blood alcohol level was also at .12, well above the legal limit. As news of the incident became known, this brought a lot of grief to those that knew the couple, particularly Phil's cast members from Saturday Night Live. Over the next few months, they honored Phil with memorials and even sung his praises. Phil and Bryn were cremated, and their ashes were spread across Emerald Bay at Santa Catalina Island. A year after the murder-suicide, Bryn's brother Gregory filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Pfizer, the manufacturer of Zoloft, but the lawsuit did not proceed to court. Their children, Sean and Bergen, first went to live with Phil's brother afterwards, and eventually moved in with Bryn's sister, who took care of them. Phil's will stated that Sean and Bergen would also receive his inheritance when they graduated with a bachelor's degree at a 4-year college, or by their 25th birthdays. Tributes to Phil were not forgotten though, and he eventually got his own star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame just a few years ago, with a little help from his brother John. Phil's daughter Bergen even honored Phil at the 40th anniversary of Saturday Night Live to honor his time there. Those that knew Phil well stated that he brought a lot of people together, and this was well known on Saturday Night Live as his nickname was The Glue. They will also tell you that he was one of the kindest people you will ever meet. Rest in peace, Phil Hartman. May your contributions to acting and comedy never be forgotten.